try this again because Instagram is being a temperamental brat. This is the second time this has happened. Last time this happened was with Alex Kane on Wednesday, and I'm beginning to think it's me, it's not Instagram. But everybody can hear me, so I don't know what the problem is. You can't hear me either? Do you hear me? Okay, let's try this again.
Bam!
Do you hear me?
All right.
Do you hear me?
All right, let's hope that doesn't happen again.
I hope not. I just lost half my interview and now... Alright, well, whatever. Now it's gone and I can't record it or anything.
Oh, no, we have to start over again.
Well, we'll start wherever we're starting, and we'll just keep on rolling with it, and I don't know. But, as mentioned, I've known you for 20 years, and you also played a great show with the London Choir Boys, and you're good friends with them for a long time, so let's at least catch that up.
Right.
And,
we met in 1989, yes.
Since 1989. All right. So, hopefully this will just last and work its way through. Okay, so one thing that surprised me that I didn't know about you is that you played with Paul Simon. Is that right?
I had like the weirdest, coolest gig ever with Paul Simon. I was Paul's stunt voice. if you can say such a thing. Basically, whenever Paul would do rehearsals, he would have his huge band, whatever, like 15 guys, right? 2 percussionists, 2 guitar players, 4 horns, 2 keyboard players, this crazy, like the giant room at SIR, Rehearsal Studios, would be filled with like all this gear. And sometimes Paul would have an interview, or he'd be tired, he'd want to save his voice or whatever. So I'd be there at every rehearsal. I did this for 10 years, 2000 until 2010. And he'd have like a microphone and a music stand set off to the side. And I'd be Paul. If all of a sudden he would, like want to take a break, he'd go, Steve, I got to go do an interview. Bridge over troubled water. You can take the band through it. And it was amazing. Because I don't know if you know, there's some musicians out there that don't know these names. Steve Gadd, the drummer, he's like one of the greatest drummers in the world. He came up with that beat, from the beginning of 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Yeah.
Right? He's the drummer, in Paul's band. Like the greatest. And he'd go like, when Paul would leave, he'd get on the mic and go, hey, Steve, man. And he's from Rochester. He's got that upstate accent. He'd go, hey, Steve, man, why don't you come up front, man, and sing with the band? And I go, all right. I'd come up,
I'm getting a
fire engine. Man, I thought it was a baby crying. That's my experience of loud noises the past few years. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. And I also did it with Simon and Garfunkel as well. So when he and Art got back together for a tour in like 2003, I did that. And it was Jim Keltner on drums, Pino Palladino on bass, and at one point Charlie Drayton was on drums, and just, an amazing, revolving door of musicians. But he pretty much had a steady band for his band was one thing, and then Simon and Garfunkel was a different band because Art had some of his guys. But anyway, it was like going back to school for me. It was like a real learning experience. I mean, the guy knows his shit. You know, you could say he's a folk singer or whatever, but the guy is a serious musician, serious lyricist, great songwriter, great melodies. Just he's a real artist. And I have the most respect for him. And you know, he's one of the first guys that I ever had a record by in my life. My parents had Simon & Garfunkel bookends when I was like 6 years old or whatever. And so I grew up listening to that along with Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Stones, Sly and Family Stone, you know, all those things together. In the 60s, late 60s. Yeah. Anyway, hi Brian. No, Brian Ray plays with Paul McCartney. Shout out.
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure of seeing Paul McCartney. Well, I actually had the pleasure of seeing Paul McCartney too. But no, Paul Simon a few years ago at Forest Hills Tennis Stadium.
Oh, yeah, well, that's where he's from. So, hometown. Oh, was that his last ever show? Was that his retirement?
Last ever.
Well, his retirement, like his last tour or whatever.
I think he played the following year, but yes. He played at whatever the nice shirt.
I wore it for y'all. I wore it for weeks. I miss everybody. I miss everybody in New York. I'm in the Netherlands, in case you don't know. I've been here since March 22nd. What's today? July. Yeah, it's
almost 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. And I love it here. It's safe. I mean, I've been going outside, getting, you know, rays, going to the beach. But, you know, I mean, I haven't been seeing people. I went to one bar once for a drink in 4 months. And it was totally awkward. It was like, seriously, it felt surreal. It felt like I've never gone this long without hanging out with people before. You know? So,
I think a lot of people are in that boat.
But I'm happy that, well, actually, so in March, April, and May, almost to June, this place was pretty dead. Social distancing wasn't like huge here, but they didn't need to be. There, as of like 6 weeks ago, there were like no cases here of COVID, and all of a sudden, since the summer has started, I'm right on the border of Belgium and Germany. I'm not far from the border of Belgium and Germany, and so all the tourists start coming over the border to come to the beaches here in southern Holland, Netherlands, and do whatever else, probably go to coffee shops and get weed. And so now the cases have just, you know, there's like 50 new cases or 125 new cases this week where I am. So, you know, back to wearing masks and gloves. But I'm still not going out. You know, I go from where I live, right here, in this couple of rooms. I'm staying with my in-laws, actually. I go from here to the beach, or there's a playground where I take my kids, and that's it. It's good enough for me. I'm not like one of those people who's going stir crazy. I'm in a little Manhattan cubicle, you know. So I'm sure you guys haven't a lot. You know, you're tearing your hair out over there, probably, right?
Is that what brought you to? Is it okay to say Holland or is it the Netherlands? I don't know.
Well, Holland is part of Holland is a province in the Netherlands. But it's the biggest one. It's where Amsterdam and Rotterdam tend to call the Netherlands Holland, but in the Netherlands. Anyway, continue.
So is that what brought you to the Netherlands?
Is that you mean
The coronavirus.
safety? Safety, yes. And fact, I was in Helsinki, Finland. I had been over there since February 14th, doing stint with Michael Monroe, and we were about 4 weeks into it, and the shit was just hit fan. And we heard that Trump was going to close the borders on a certain day, and I'm like, uh-oh, I better get home. So I canceled the last gig, which was on a boat. And I thought, the last place I want to be is on a boat with a bunch of people. I had already been on one boat, and in 5 airports, or 3 airports, 5 different boats, probably 10 sold out venues, people, meet and greets, handshakes, kisses, full on, like no protection at all. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey guys, the coronavirus is really raging. So all of a sudden everything had to stop. All of a sudden I didn't touch anything. I just said, I gotta get out of here, I gotta get back home. I got home to New York, and after a few, I started feeling a little sick. And I thought, oh God, I don't know if I caught anything, but I thought the worst place we could be is in New York, because we don't really have a support system in case we have, kids who are like, we should be with the extended family and really help out. We came over here, and it's been a really good situation here.
Now, next thing I guess I want to ask is about the shirt I have on, obviously. I'm wearing that because we were playing with the New York Dolls for a while.
Nice.
So how did that all get started?
Did you get that at the Sharyn Fest by chance?
No, but it could have come from there. I actually got it. I got it from like some guy on the street play for $1. Like this winter. And I just saw something green sticking out. I'm like, that's got to be a Conte shirt. And then I saw it was a New York Dolls.
In Netherlands, we would.
Something's happening.
Correct.
You're getting.
$1.
You have to come back.
Wow.
You're getting frozen.
Holland.
We're buffering. Now you're back to normal. Sort of.
Anyway. Yeah.
But that
2004. 2 years.
hold me closer. Okay.
Sorry.
I was pulling the camera a little closer.
So yeah, House. 4 albums, 6 every continent. Yeah, it was a good run that we had. I miss it. I miss sort of groovy music. It was groovy to play.
Hey, sorry, go ahead.
I love it. Well, this is a truth that I put out there early on. When I got the gig, I really hadn't been a Dolls disciple. I wasn't like a Thunders guy. I wasn't a Dolls fan. I was a Stones fan. I was a Berry fan, and so my style. That's how I started playing that same kind of style, Thunders. Did it in '73, and that's probably when I was starting to do it as well. Then I sort of moved. I wanted to go to Jeff Beck, Hendrix and fancier stuff. And I wanted to be a jazz player for a while. I studied that. And, I studied music. So I early on I had the rock and roll roots. I taught myself and all that, and so I was able to fit in on that level. But yeah, I did get some musical education and then that. But I did love doing that. And it was really fun, and I miss it because the music really grooved. We had a great rhythm section, it was a great band. Delaney, so. And we grooved and we jammed a lot, and it was great. We'd do these things on stage where every night we'd get to the end of Private World, and we'd go off into this. We never knew what was going to happen. David would just start going into some old Mitch Ryder, the Detroit Wheel song, I'd go, I know that one. I'd start with, that kind of doesn't happen in many bands. It's like you play the song the way it goes, and it's the same gig every night. But the Dolls were really fun for that.
And that, I guess, led to Michael Monroe, right?
Yeah, we actually have a couple of situations like that in the Michael the show where we have a breakdown, and Michael will go into a couple of different songs. But it's more of a, fast-paced, like, punk rock show. So I don't know if that kind of jamming thing really goes over that well with the crowd. But, I like it. Some of the other bands.
No, I meant that playing with the New York Dolls led to playing with Michael Monroe, right? Because of Sammy? Or am I wrong?
I'm sorry, so what was the question? How did I get to play with Michael through Sammy? Is that what you're asking? Yes.
Sam.
Yeah, so around sometime in 2010, it was it was starting to get a little light on the gigs for the Dolls, and Sammy had started playing with Michael again. So Sammy was like, "Hey, you want to come play some gigs with Michael?" I was like, "Yeah, well, I need some gigs." I did, and my first one. So I was like, "Yeah, I need to work," and so I went and I did like a week with Michael somewhere, and they really liked having me along, and they offered me a position in the band, and I was like, well, I'm in the Dolls. What am I going to do? And I said, I'll do both. And then what happened was, so we did the whole summer. The Dolls had no gigs, and we did the whole summer with Michael. And the Dolls manager calls and says, hey, guys, we're going to go in the studio and make a new record on September 10th. And we had just booked to do the new Michael record with Jack Douglas on September 10th in LA. And the Dolls are going to go to England and make a record on September 10th. We can't do it. It was already in the books. We had already committed to making the record with Michael. And actually, we had been writing the songs already. We already knew what songs we were going to record, and we had the whole thing down. The Dolls, nobody had any songs yet, which was kind of classic. David likes to wait till the last minute. And, so sometimes they like to jam and come up like in the moment, which is a beautiful thing, but it can be a little nerve-wracking when you're paying for studio time. But they went ahead and made the record without us, and they did this Dancing Backwards in High Heels album, and Sammy and I did Sensory Overdrive with Michael, and that's where we parted ways.
You also had you also wrote all the music for the Perfect Age of Rock and Roll, a movie that came out probably in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, or 2011.
I believe it was 2009.
Maybe it was 2000.
Because my kid was born at the Woodstock Film Festival for the premiere, and Hubert Sumlin, Alan Wolfsger, who I do a duel with in the movie. Just I'm not in the frame. I'm in the studio. Hubert Sumlin, I have a picture of Hubert holding my son when he was 6 months old at the premiere of the movie. So it was definitely 2009. But yeah, that was a fun gig. I basically wrote with Andrew Hollander, who I'll come back to in a minute because he and I are working on something new right now. Andy and I wrote all the songs for the movie. It was supposed to be, the band was supposed to be sort of like a Guns N' Roses, kind of like hard rock guitar band. So Andy's a keyboard player and a great film composer and stuff. So he called me and said, I need a guy to write the songs for this rock band, guitar rock and roll band. So I was like, I can do that in my sleep. And so I came up with, I don't know, maybe a couple of blues jams as well. There's a scene in the movie where Hubert Sumlin goes into actually the whole blues band at Pine Top Park, and I don't know who else. Got everyone, Alan Wolf probably. Well, Hubert played with Alan Wolf. Muddy Waters bass player, Muddy Waters drummer, really big Guy Smith, Bob Stroger bass player, Sugar Blue the harmonica player who plays on Miss You, Stones. So it was a great band, and that band is in the movie. And there's a scene where they go into a bar and they do like a jam and like a head cutting contest, like the white kid and the old blues guy, going at it. And of course, Hubert comes and plays his like 2 or 3 notes and just kills it, And so I was playing guitar for the actor in the movie. I wasn't in the film, but I'm on the soundtrack. So it was it was a great experience. Have you heard those songs?
Yeah, I mean,
there's not a soundtrack. There was supposed to be a soundtrack album.
I probably had the soundtrack at some point. I saw the movie I saw the movie a few times because there were a few Q&As, and I saw it when it premiered at I forgot what festival it was, but it could have been CBGB's festival or something, and or the other was CMJ, maybe CMJ because it was fall. That makes sense. And then I saw it again because they did it at another movie theater, like I think it was like 12th and 2nd, whatever movie theater that's called, I forgot. But yeah, but yeah, I loved it. I loved the original music. I thought was incredible. I thought it was better than 80s music. Can I say that out loud?
Oh, thank you.
That's right.
Big piece.
Yeah, the whole thing was really cool.
I really liked it.
I thought
he had a great character in the movie.
That's right. I remember that. Oh, I forgot about that.
And I believe Kelly Lynch. You know Kelly Lynch?
I do. I can't remember who she played.
Actress.
Yeah, I can't remember who she played.
I believe she was Peter Falk.
That's right.
Squeeze.
That's right.
Yeah, she's. I knew her a long time ago when she lived in New York.
That's cool.
Friend of mine and her have a child together. One of my childhood friends. Anyway, I have a really wonderful old guitar here.
That's a beautiful guitar.
Well, is what it is. It is a Kramer.
Nice.
Because when I left New York City for the Netherlands, we were like, we got to get out of here. We can't stay here and get sick. We just got to like pack up all the shit we need and get over to the Netherlands and just bring the necessities. And I was like, well, I got to bring the electric guitar. I got to bring my recording equipment, which you'll see I have. Let's see. I have my little studio set
Nice.
right here.
Well, that's amazing. So you're all set.
And I said, I got to bring at least, I don't have an electric guitar here, so I said, I got to bring an electric guitar. And I'm like, am I going to bring my 1959 Les Paul Jr. on the plane? I don't think so. So the only thing I could think about was that I could put underneath the plane, because I had too many bags to carry it on, was something I didn't really care about. And this has been sitting in a case since 1990.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the guitar I played on the Company of Wolves tour. My band from Mercury Records in 1990. It's actually in the video for the song "The Distance." If you've ever seen any of our videos, we have two. There's this video we're in the desert playing, and this is the guitar I'm playing. I played my Telecaster and I played this. But it's actually working out not bad. I've done a bunch of recording sessions for records, for commercials, it sounds fine.
So now that you have a guitar in your hand, or you've had a guitar in your hand the whole time, are you itching to go back on your word and play something anyway for us?
Well, my kids are sleeping, so I can't. I have an unplugged electric guitar here.
That's loud enough.
What I can do is show you the stuff I've been practicing. I figured, after all this isolation, I'm not coming out of it without gaining something, right? So I've been practicing. I've been sitting down, like practicing my, scales and jazz and just stuff that I never had the chance to really work on anymore, because I'm always like out there on the road playing gigs and writing songs and doing demos and making records, and this is my chance to get back into my player. And I've been writing a lot of songs too and recording a lot of demos as well, because there ain't much else to do besides the family stuff, which takes up really 90% of my time. But that other 10%, I practice. I pretty much wake up in the morning, grab my guitar, run through, and a couple times, and then have breakfast, and then go about my day, and hopefully I get like an hour to record a demo, and I've been doing some writing with different people, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do via, the web, so it's been great.
Who have you been writing with?
Let's see. Anyone you would know? Well, of course, Rich Jones and I have been writing a couple of things for Monroe. I've been writing songs on my own. There are two other people I've been writing with, but I don't want to mention them because I want it to be a surprise. Because you would know who they are. And I haven't told anyone, so.
Save that for another time. Save that for when it's done. I gotcha.
Save that for when it's done.
All right. Last but not least, and I won't keep you much longer because I know it's getting later, but we did have a full interview, so I'm glad. Can you get marginally decent Italian food in the Netherlands? Did I freeze? Am I frozen?
No.
No, you cannot.
No. You know what you can get that's good for that noise, though? No. Italian food? No. A lot of the food here is very, well, they do, in different countries, they make the food to the local tastes. In England, I guess, but they definitely do it here. And what they do is they make a lot of things sweet. So there's a sweetness to the meat. There's like a spicy thing that happens that, like, I don't mean hot spicy, I mean like cinnamon, like nutmeg spicy in a hamburger or meatball. You're biting into a meatball, you think there's going to be like an Italian flavor, like garlicky, and it's got like a, allspice kind of vibe to it, But they do make very good this stuff.
I'm gonna pretend I don't see that.
Well, it's not,
Can't put that in pasta.
I ain't breaking no laws, baby.
That's true.
Yeah, so, the food is a bit challenging. I mean, come on. I'm a spoiled New Yorker. I mean, we have the best of everything, right? I mean, you can get amazing Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, Spanish, tapas, you name it. Here, luckily, my in-laws and my wife, they're chefs. My father-in-law's a French chef, trained. So he cooks amazing stuff. So we don't eat like a typical Dutch household. Although, once in a while they do make like a typical Dutch thing. There's this thing called stamppot, which is like mashed potatoes with like sauerkraut and like, hot dogs.
That sounds kind of fun.
Just like comfort food. You wouldn't want to eat it every day, but
grow up.
But the specialty thing is like, the treat for the kids is like, there's this thing called frikandel, which is like a dog or a sausage that's got all those kind of spices that I told you about before. But then they put, they slather it with raw onions and curry chip, mayonnaise, and then you have it with the big fat fries, or Belgian fries with mayonnaise, and that is like so bad for you, but it's so good, especially after you.
I need to uncuff my pants after listening to that, which I'm not going to do, but I need to. I think I just expanded the size just hearing it. All right. We're going to play a little bit.
Oh, well, hold on. But we can't go yet until I tell you. I want to tell you about the Perfect Days of Rock and Roll producer of that soundtrack, and the guy who co-wrote the songs with me, Andrew Hollander. He's a great keyboard player and producer. He's actually producing my new album with me, which I am almost done with. It's a new Steve Conte solo album, band really, because it's the same guys on every track. It's myself on guitar, my brother John on bass, and Charlie Drayton on drums, who's an amazing drummer, from Keith Richards' Expensive Rhinos, B-52s, the Vinyls, and hundreds of others. So it's a really grooving rock and roll record. I think it's like sort of late 70s, early 80s Stones meets, it's just got like that punky Stones thing meets like, sort of traditional, rock and roll R&B kind of thing. It's
Well, I can't wait for Here, you know me, I open up the music.
It ain't. Oh, thank you. It ain't hard rock. It ain't real punk, but there's actually a really. There's a couple of really good attitude. It's got like a punky attitude to it, but it's soulful. So, yeah.
Good. What,
People who know my stuff won't think it's too out of the realm of what I do. It's right in there, basically.
when do you think that'll be out?
That's the thing. I'm working on the cover at the same time that the artwork, at the same time that I'm mixing it. My mixer is in Los Angeles, Nico Bolas, who has mixed so many great records. Don Henley's Boys of Summer. He mixes all Neil Young stuff. He just did this. Have you heard The Immediate Family? The band with Waddy Wachtel and Danny Korchmar. He's just mixed their album. So he's a great mixer. He's been mixing my shit for 2 decades now, and he's, so it's a weird thing. Like, if I want to talk to him, he's 9 hours earlier than me because he's in LA. So we don't really talk real time much.
Really going to coordinate that.
Yeah, we're kind of mixing by email, which I've done on a number of records, Monroe records and my own records. So, and the Dolls records too. We did the Todd Rundgren produced the Dolls because I said so. He was mixing in Hawaii and he'd send us rough mixes by email and we'd give our comments. So I'm kind of doing it like that. But I would love to release it when I can actually play live.
Well, that'd be good.
And so the original plan was to release some digital singles, then do a vinyl at the end of the whole thing. I'm still sort of formulating that plan that was the plan before COVID. So I might have to alter that a little bit because I don't know how long I can sit on the record when it's done. I'm going to be dying to just get it out. So maybe I'd do a couple of singles and then maybe I'd do a record release gig after it's been out for a year. I don't know. That wouldn't be the worst thing, right?
You'd still have it, and people would you'd probably pack the place 10 times over. I feel like nobody. I feel like every band, even bands that don't normally do large venues, people are going to be so hungry for it by the time we're all ready to see live music that you'll be playing the party.
Oh.
Fine by me.
I know, and I hope that soon that we can all feel safe about going out. Just because people are calling and saying, "Hey, this venue is having bands,"
right.
I mean, I don't feel safe. I don't care if the club owner thinks it's safe. I don't care if the band thinks it's safe. I read the news and the reports of scientists and doctors. That I'm not going to go out into a touring situation or a club situation where I managed to 4 months stay free of this virus. I'm not going to go out now and do something stupid and get myself killed or sick, just to play a gig. I mean,
yeah,
I'm dying to play a gig.
I just did something at the end of the month, and I was at somewhere downtown. I'm I've been on the train once in 4 months, and that was to get back from the beach because we rode our bikes there. And I wasn't riding another 12 miles. My legs weren't having it. So, yeah. For me something's got to be amazing. Not to say this band isn't amazing or great or whatever, but yeah, no. Until everything's cleared, you won't see me probably downtown at all. It's happening again. Okay.
Am I frozen? Okay.
Yeah, it's busy again. I don't know what's been Instagram lately. This is like the second time in a row.
But the Beatles reformed right now. I
Yeah,
wouldn't go.
if half of them were resurrected, if John Paul,
If Hendrix came back to life,
John Bonham, if all the dead people came back, David Bowie came back to life, and it was my one chance to ever see him, I don't think I'd go.
it ain't worth it, and I'm not going to get into the political thing, but
it is what it is. I get it.
We are, we're asking so little of people just to have some courtesy for their fellow citizens, and wear a mask, not just for themselves, but for other people.
Everybody around.
Take like someone's taking away their freedoms, and they, okay, we won't take away your freedom, but you'll take away someone else's freedom because they won't be able to live, possibly.
Yeah, my friend Alex said something funny the other night. We normally cover like 85% of our body in clothing, and nobody's complaining that that's a freedom being taken away.
It's true.
Bikini right now, I could be, but I'm not. And I wouldn't even walk around the beach topless because whatever, it's too weird. But the point is, like, if you could do all that, you can wear a damn mask, and that's the end of it. So I agree with you. You're not going to hear an argument from Cher Gorgeous.
Yeah, I see some people saying, sending comments up here. The mask doesn't protect you. Well, it's a piece of the puzzle. Don't go out. Don't go in large gatherings. Don't touch everything. Wash your hands and wear a mask. The mask by itself maybe doesn't do it, but in combination with all those other things, with some social distancing, some smarts, some hand washing, and some staying away from places, be all right.
A little more of me and a little less me is all I can say about that. That's been what I've been saying for like the last few weeks. A little more we can all do this together. It's not, whatever. Cuomo says it's not a political thing, and it's not a political thing. It's like a sensible thing. So use what you got up here, put something over here, the end.
That's what some of us think, anyway.
Well, anyway.
But I'm with you. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have anybody around you for like 6 feet, okay, have at it, take it off. But if you're around people, if you're like, if there's tons of people around, wear a goddamn mask, yeah. Anyway.
Hey. I was going to say Cuomo's thing today, he sits down, he's got the mask on, he's had the mask on the whole time, then he sits down and there's no one around him for, 5-6 feet on either side, and he takes the mask off. But, but he's a recycler.
Right. I mean...
And then the people that hate him and the people that hate the right, the left, are going to say he's an idiot too, because everyone that's on the other person on that side. This country has become so polarized. I've never seen it like
No, it's absolutely
frightening.
You're smart to be in the Netherlands. I'm like, in a few months I might move to the Netherlands. I quit. Well, anyway. Anyway, we can find your music on SteveConteNYC.com, right?
Yes. Find it on SteveConteNYC.com, my website. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes, Apple Music. It's on Amazon. Just Google me, Steve Conte, C-O-N-T-E. My band's The Crazy Truth. Crown, Steve Conte. I see it's me solo with Michael, Monroe, the Dolls. Yeah, we're all on all the same platforms.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me, Sharyn.
Yes, it's been a pleasure having you.
And thanks, everyone.
I can't hear. What?
Thank you. Oh, we're just talking over each other. I'm just looking at some of the comments coming up. Thank you, Godspeed, and break a leg. Yes, I will. Try not to break a leg, but yeah. Thanks everyone for watching, listening, and sorry I didn't get to play a song this time, but Cher, thank you for spinning Rockaway, and maybe you'll even spin the B-side.
If I could do that, I'd have to leave the show and go back onto YouTube. I have a computer.
Well, anyway, the B-side of my last single on Wicked Cool Records, Little Steven Van Zandt's label, is a cover of Janis Joplin's Mercedes-Benz, doing for years with chords. And Jesse Mallon sings it with me, and it was a really fun project to do. So, thank you all.
Thank you all. Stay safe. You've been watching the Sharyn Like Show. Steve Conte was my guest. I'm Cher Gorgeous. This is the Hotel California Studios, and you have been a great Cher Force audience. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a